8:06 here on the great WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2. Hour 3 of the Kuhner Report. 617-266-6868 is the number. As you know, tomorrow is the showdown. Major Stop the Invasion rally. 11 a.m. it starts till about 1 p.m. I think we'll maybe finish a bit earlier than 1. But anyway, 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. at the steps of the State House across from the Boston Commons. There we will be. Shauna O'Connell is scheduled to speak. Mark Fisher, Republican candidate for governor, scheduled to speak. Charlie Baker, we've sent out, several requests. So far, no response. State Representative Mark Lombardo will be there. State Representative Leah Cole will be there. And, of course, I will be giving the keynote speech. My friends, I need all of you to show up. We have to speak with one loud, clear voice. Now, if you want to know, just have a taste, just a little taste of what's going to be in store for us if we keep allowing these so-called unaccompanied minors to be dumped into our state and around the country. Check this out. Because what the media is not telling you is that most of them are teenagers. Most of them are, many of them, in fact, have criminal backgrounds. Many of them have ties to the Mexican drug cartels. Many of them are gangbangers with ties to MS-13. That the media is not telling you. Well, they found out in Hamilton here in Massachusetts, or at least the church group did. This is on Drudge. It's now going national. By the way, why are we always like have you noticed that? We always have these naive, ultra-progressive liberals who do something either really stupid or really criminal or corrupt. And then we become the national laughingstock. Okay, well, check this one out. This falls more a little bit in the naive category. This is CBS Boston, from Hamilton, Massachusetts. There was a church group, the First Congregational Church of Hamilton. And where do they decide to go? They do many mission trips. Well, last week, where did they decide to go? Guatemala. Because they want to help the poor people, the starving people, the violence-ravaged people of Guatemala. So 17 people, many teenagers from Hamilton, went down to Guatemala. And near the end of their mission, they'd been there for about a week, on their way to Guatemala City to get on a plane to return home, they had two vans. One van, apparently the one in the front, apparently drove a bit too quickly, kind of pulled ahead of the second van so they couldn't see behind them very much. As the first van kind of went a little bit quicker, the second van fell behind. Apparently the second van was hijacked. And some thugs hijacked the van, or carjacked, to be precise, forgive me. Carjacked, the van was carjacked. Thugs then began to viciously beat members of the congregation. They were robbed. They were literally picked clean. Some of them were beaten quite badly. They had to be sent to the hospital. They drove immediately to the hospital, got care, got on a plane, and got the hell out of Guatemala. Now, Brittany's saying we're so nice to their people, you think they'd be nice to us. So, this is what we get for taking in nearly 90,000 of their so-called unaccompanied minors. This is what we get for sending a mission group. They're peaceful Christians. They're there to build huts and help people grow food and give them water and medicine. And these animals stand there, carjack them, club them, pound them, beat them, rob them. They were lucky they weren't killed. This is what we want coming into our country? Because it was a gang of teenagers who did it. The very same teenagers they keep bringing in. That's what we need in the United States of America. That's what we need. That's what we need in Lynn. That's what we need in East Boston. That's what we need in Saugus. That's what we need in Salem. That's really enriching our community by being flooded by people like this. And now the president, seeing the cameras, the TV media coverage, which has been brutal, of the chaos on the border, rather than doing the right humane thing, which is to send every one of them home and build a wall once and for all, now thinks he's going to outfox all of us. And so today at the White House, he is going to be offering a pilot program without even asking Congress, telling the people of Honduras they can be given refugee status in Honduras, I guess at the American consulate and at the American embassy. You just wait in line there. And then they'll give them to you, and you'll be accepted to come into the United States before you even enter the United States. Basically now, Obama's the ultimate coyote. Obama's the ultimate smuggler. And he's going to, apparently, and we're going to pay for this, and you just fly him on down. And the reports are going out, I kid you not, Breitbart.com, the word has got, this to me is unbelievable. In Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, either at the top of the list or near the top of the list, Border Patrol agents are reporting this from McAllen, Texas. They seem to want Massachusetts. For whatever reason, they love Mass. They love the Bay State. Because here, they're not stupid. You get the full Tsarnaev. Here, no. It's a little different in Utah. They're a little tougher in Utah. They're a little tougher in Alabama. They're a little tougher in South Carolina. They don't just hand out welfare benefits like they're candy. It's not that easy in some of those states. But you come up here. Section 8. A nice Section 8. EBT cards always recharged at the first of the month. Always. WIC, food stamps, multiple EBT cards. Lynn, they put them in school, no problem. They even give you vaccinations. The dumb gringo pays for that. In-state tuition. Obamacare, free health care. Food, you name it. Even the Obama phone. You get a nice cell phone. No problem. Maybe do a little bit of work under the table. Charge $6-7 under the table. Minimum wage is going to be $11. You go $8. Do a little carpentry, a little landscaping on the side. Put some little extra more cash in your pocket. Hey, you got it made. $52,000 a year an illegal can make just from welfare benefits alone, if you put all the welfare benefits together in the state of Massachusetts. $52,000. For one. Imagine you get the whole familia involved. I'm telling you, I'm boning up on my Spanish. I wanted to get DirecTV. We got it finally installed at my house, okay? You know, I moved almost a year ago. I kid you not. I call up they're going to be right at home here in Massachusetts. I'm telling you, this is their place. I call up DirecTV. I swear to you. I want to get the regular basic cable package. You know, you get ESPN. I like to watch football on the weekends, et cetera, et cetera. Fox News, CNN, C-SPAN. For English, press 2. You call them, it's English, press 2. I'm like, no comprende español. They give you the spiel first in Spanish. I mean, at least for English, press 1. You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, fine. Say it in Spanish. I know they outnumber us now. Say it in Spanish, okay? But at least, for God's sakes, press 1, not press 2. They're even telling you, no, you know number 1 no more. No, you now number 2. And if you're not careful, maybe number 3. because maybe Arabic become number 2. Islam, we bring in Muslims next. There's the next one. There's the next phase of Obama revolution. Viva la revolución. So Spanish 1, Espanol 1, Arabic 2, English maybe 3. Maybe 3. I'm watching the World Cup. I'm in my house. I'm watching ESPN. I'm not watching ESPN Deportes. I'm not watching the Spanish version of ESPN. I'm watching ESPN. God as my witness. The ESPN, the talking heads, the play-by-play guy and the color commentator are more enthusiastic, I swear to you, about Mexico than they are about Team USA. Team USA scores a goal. They say, goal, all right, good job. Ho, look at that goal, whatever. Mexico scores. I swear. A goal! A goal! A goal! I thought they were going to jump out of their seat. I thought the guy was going to get a cardiac arrest. They're like going crazy that Mexico scored the goal. Then they got this player. I'm telling you, this guy, if he was 5 feet, there's no way this guy was 5 feet. I'm watching the Mexico-Croatia game, okay? This guy was playing at the knees, at the hips of the Croatian players. I'm like this, isn't there some rules or regulations, like basic height requirement? He's almost going between their legs. Anyway, and I swear, the moment he's a substitute, the moment he gets on the soccer field. Now remember, this whole thing is supposed to be done in English. It's ESPN. The broadcast is supposed to be done in English. They keep mixing in Spanish words. But when this guy comes on, this little short, I can't call him a midget because people get offended. This guy, I don't know what he was, borderline dwarf. I think he had science, like people in science. Is he a dwarf? Is he a so-called little person, or is he a regular person? I don't know. It could go either way. Okay, Mr. 4'7", all right? There's 4'7". Every time he gets the ball, I swear to you, every time, the color commentator guy starts going nuts. Chigareto! Chigareto! There's Chigareto! Chigareto! What the hell is that? No, I think Chikorito means like short, like little one, like little guy. And he says the audience is yelling. And I swear to him, the audience is yelling. The fans are yelling also. Chigareto! I swear to him, Chigareto! I'm like, what the hell is that? What country am I in? I'm watching ESPN World Cup Soccer, for God's sakes. This is what I got to listen to for 90 minutes? So I decided at that moment, it's like the Roman Empire. If you can't beat them, join them. And now from Brittany and others, my wife also, she loves languages. She knows multiple languages. Every day now, I ask her a couple words in Spanish. And I'm about, what do you say, Brittany, maybe 50, 60 words now? Pretty soon by not that much? Well, okay.
Maybe 10.
What do you mean maybe 10? I think I know a little bit more than 10.
I don't think so.
But anyway, I'm going to go for about 100 by the end of the summer. I'm looking 500 by the end of next year. And so when we have full amnesty, I can somehow function in Spanish. Because, I'll try to be a talk show host in Spanish. The Dumb Gringo. That's going to be called the show. Dumb Gringo. That's going to be the name of my new show. 617-266-6868. Lines are blazing. Mike, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Jeff, yesterday I kind of went off the rails, as you recall, that call I made. Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air, Mike.
But I'm sticking to my opinion. What did Ted Cruz say about the Democrats in the Senate? Not one came on board. Now, the Democratic Party, Jeff, for 30 years has led us to this point, as far as I'm concerned. Whether it was abortion on demand, whether it was forced busing, whether it was same-sex marriage. I could give you a litany, as the way I perceive things, of things that have destroyed our culture and our society. Elements and programs instituted by only the Democratic Party. And by the way, in tomorrow's meeting, I'm going to be there. and I want to speak with John, and I want to shake hands with John because I feel as though I owe John an apology. He's been a steady voice of opposition. He's a man that I respect. But as far as that, stepping over to the other side, even in the slightest way, it bothers me very much because they wouldn't step a half an inch on our side. Would you agree with that, Joe?
Mike, look, generally, what's happening now, what I find incredible is even here at Entercom, there's a lot of liberal producers who work in the sister stations. Not one. I mean, they always tell me when they disagree with me. Not one agrees with this. In fact, they're dead set against it. And many of them are now saying, I think you're right. I think this guy's a radical. I think Obama's a really dangerous radical. They're like, Jeff, all of them, I used to think you're crazy. Not anymore. So what's happening is that Democrats are beginning to finally wake up. This is not your father or grandfather's Democratic Party. The dear leader is not some black version of John F. Kennedy or FDR. He is a disciple of Reverend Jeremiah Wright. And when you have Massachusetts going 8-9-1 on an issue like this against the Democrats and against Mini-Me, they're in trouble. And tomorrow we deliver the knockout blow. Maureen, thanks for holding. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. I thank you for the rally. I just have three things. I think we should take care of our own. People that are born here can't even get housing. I fear if they, when they get on welfare, that they will stay on it because there are no jobs anyway, and they don't know the language. And just one last thing, Duval has a nice home out in the Berkshires. Why doesn't he take in a few children over to his home?
He won't. Because he wants them in our communities, he wants them in our homes, he wants them in our neighborhoods, because that's the kind of guy Duval is. He's a hypocrite. Just like Chief Spreading Bull is a hypocrite, just like Obama is a hypocrite, and we're going to expose that hypocrisy tomorrow. Mini-Me, I know you listen to this show. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. You want him, you love him so much, you take him. 617-266-6868 is the number. Comrade Juan, hola, comrade.
Sí, jefe, muy bien. Mike, apology accepted, and I can totally understand because even though I'm trying to get people together on this issue, believe me, I am just as mad as anyone else about it. We just have to find a way. And to me, there's enough division going on. It's not a softness. It's looking for an answer. And the answer to me is not staying divided. So I'll see you tomorrow at the rally, pal. I'll buy you a cup of coffee, a lunch, whatever, and we'll stick together.
Thank you for that call, Comrade John. 617-266-6868. My friends, we're going to be talking with Cooksey in the 9 o'clock hour. He's at the Market Basket Rally. He's trying to get to the Market Basket Rally. He's texting me, telling me, apparently the traffic is so bad. There are so many people showing solidarity with Market Basket. The traffic just to get to the exit is backed up. Just to get to the Market Basket, just on the exit, it's completely backed up. I stand with Market Basket, and tomorrow, do you stand with the Republic, Kuhner Country? Let's show up in big numbers. 825 on the great WRKO. More with your calls next. 829 on the great WRKO. Donna, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Donna.
Jeff, what happened to the Hamilton mission is the same thing that's going to happen to us and is happening. Congress has to yell stop and pass a bill today to ban this crap. Listen, I've got some sign ideas for people. I've got 7 of them here. I'll just read them off so if people want to write them down. 1, what national security? 2, illegals needed to steal elections. 3, the Statue of Liberty where it says, give me your wretched, your poor? Okay, 3, give me your diseased, your gangs, your criminals. Another flip on that is no disease, no gangs, no druggies, no terrorists. You can use one or all. 4, no border equals no USA. Just use the equal sign. 5, B.O. and Mini-Me say, what Constitution? 6, where's my country? And the last one, illegal housing now open, Berkshires and Rancho Mirage.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Donna. 8:30 on the great WRKO. More with your calls. Don't touch that dial. 8:38 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. This is a text from 508. Jeff, sign idea. Quote, work hard. Millions on EBT are depending on you. Jeff, let's have a sign. This is from 617. Jeff, let's have a sign that says, quote, it's the law of the land. Illegal is illegal, unquote. My friends, before I get to the phone lines, there's another very important story that I would be remiss if I didn't mention to all of you. It's a huge, huge story. This is from McClatchy News Services, and it confirms what we already know. But now we have clear evidence, damning evidence, that proves conclusively, irrefutably, that the dear leader, the Obama regime, knew months before ISIS took power or seized power in Iraq. They now control, apparently now, half of Iraq. They control 1/3 of Syria. They now are now forming a huge, impressive caliphate with massive oil and natural gas reserves underneath them. It has now come out that ISIS is launching a massive genocidal campaign against Iraq's Christians. Over the last several weeks, Christians now, at almost historic rates, are being slaughtered, they're being murdered, they're being religiously cleansed. Many of them are now being told either convert, pay a tax, or die. Iraq is on the verge of being cleansed of all of Iraq's Christian community. These are people who go all the way back to literally, to the time of Christ. In Mesopotamia, the heartland of the Middle East. Many of these Christian groups actually spoke the language of Jesus. They spoke Aramaic. There was a big Assyrian community, which also dates back to the time of Christ. They are one of the oldest Christian communities in the world. And they are now being eradicated completely. Gone like dust in the wind. ISIS is now on the verge of having Iraq be completely Christian-free. Just as the Nazis wanted to create Judean-free, a Jewish-free Europe, ISIS wants to create a Christian and Judean-free Middle East. And they're using their caliphate in Iraq and Syria as the springboard, the launching pad, to target Christians and Jews all over the Middle East and eventually in America. And now ISIS is imposing an order that every single female under its control in Iraq and Syria, in their caliphate, must now undergo genital mutilation. So women are now being rounded up, the overwhelming majority, forced against their will, to have their genitals mutilated. The reason being is they don't want women to enjoy sex or sexual relations, and they believe this way women can no longer cheat on men because that eliminates the incentive to have sex. That's how primitive and barbaric they are. And according to McClatchy Newswire, according to many experts and people up on Capitol Hill, it is now obvious that the Obama regime saw all of this coming, saw ISIS taking over Iraq, saw all of our gains being wiped out, saw Iraq fragmenting into 3 states, saw the possibility of an Al-Qaeda terrorist state right there in the heart of Mesopotamia, and they did nothing. They deliberately turned a blind eye. According to McClatchy, which is actually a liberal newswire service, based on congressional testimonials and experts, a review of the record shows that the Obama administration wasn't surprised at all when the city of Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, fell to an offensive by the jihadis of the Islamic State. In congressional testimony, I'm now reading to you straight from the story. In congressional testimony as far back as November, U.S. diplomats and intelligence officials made clear that the United States had been closely tracking the Al-Qaeda spinoff since 2012, when it enlarged its operations from Iraq to civil war-torn Syria, an oil-rich province there, and signed up thousands of foreign fighters. They go on to say that they cite testimony from, for example, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Brett McGurk, who openly said that there is now a calculated, coordinated effort on the part of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, a strategic campaign to subvert and overthrow the government of Iraq. And according to McGurk, who said this in front of a House committee on February 5, think about this, 4 months before the fighting broke out in Mosul in Iraq. 4 months. Here's what Obama's own Assistant Secretary of State said. Quote, the campaign of ISIS has a stated objective to cause the collapse of the Iraqi state and carve out a zone of governing control in western regions of Iraq and Syria. More officials are now testifying that say they kept warning even 2 months before the fall of Mosul that Al-Qaeda was now going to launch a huge offensive and carve out massive provinces and territory out of eastern Syria and northern and western Iraq. And that you would have the genital mutilation of women. That you would have the genocide of Christians. That you would have the slaughter of innocent men, women, and children. And still, Obama did nothing. The next time a progressive Democrat, an Obama bot, talks about the war on women and how supposedly Mitt Romney or Ted Cruz or Jeff Kuhner is the embodiment of the war on women, all you say in return is Iraq. Because women there are really being terrorized. Women there are really being brutalized. Women there are having their genitals mutilated. And Obama didn't lift a finger. In fact, he didn't sign the Status of Forces Agreement, which doomed Iraq's fate. He aided and abetted ISIS in essentially carving out a caliphate and unleashing this rampage all across Syria and Iraq. My friends, he has blood on his hands. And it's about time somebody said it. Joining us now to discuss this and the escalating conflict in Ukraine is a nationally syndicated columnist, CNBC analyst, and of course you can hear his radio show every Saturday evening here on the great WRKO, Larry Kudlow. This segment is sponsored by South Shore Bank. Larry, thank you so much for coming on the Kuhner Report.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
So, Larry, my understanding is now that Putin is ratcheting up the war in Ukraine. They've shot down now 3 Ukrainian fighter jets. He's providing the Russian insurgents in eastern Ukraine with more missiles, with more weaponry, with more military aid. What should we do? What should Obama do? Are his latest sanctions enough?
Well, yeah, just to add to that narrative, there's some evidence. I don't know that people have figured this out yet, but some reports are that these Ukrainian military planes might have been shot down by Russian missiles from the Russian side of the border, or that Russia, from their side of the border, is firing missiles into the Ukraine. So they're like not just giving missiles to the terrorists, the rebels, they're actually involving themselves. So the bottom line is, despite the catastrophe of the Malaysian airline and all the rest, Putin is not feared, or he's not fearing us. He doesn't feel intimidated. He continues his mischief, and we have to make him pay a cost. We have to make him suffer severe consequences. You mentioned sanctions. Okay, we're going to have to up the sanctions. We're going to have to stop him from banking in London and New York. He has his customers, he and his cronies, his oligarchs, his companies. They do a lot of banking in New York and London. I would go there right away because that'll hurt him. One other point I want to make. This is a little more controversial. We ought to think about damaging the Russian ruble, which is, of course, their currency. And we can do this. Our Treasury Department has something called the Exchange Stabilization Fund, the ESF. We've used it in emergencies before, sometimes to prop up a currency, sometimes not. It's many tens of billions of dollars. It's a huge fund. If the U.S. Treasury, which runs it, starts selling rubles, Jeff, that's going to cause a run on the ruble worldwide. And money will flow out of Russia in an eyelash, literally in a computer stroke. And that will do phenomenal damage. I mean phenomenal damage to his economy, which is already weak. I might add their central bank today had to raise rates to support the ruble. So we could attack their currency, and a run on their currency would be devastating to Putin.
Larry, I have to then ask you the obvious. I mean, it's what you're saying seems perfectly sensible and completely accurate to me. The $64,000 question. Why is Obama not doing this? Why is he not getting tough with Putin?
Well, look, I can't get into his head. I mean, he's a very passive guy when it comes to foreign policy. I'm not sure. I mean, I'll be honest with you, just my opinion. I'm not sure he understands that Putin is our enemy. Or maybe Obama has this strange thing that says, well, maybe Putin is the enemy of the United States, but he's not me, Obama. He's not my enemy. I mean, that's sort of the way Obama sometimes sounds to me. Putin is our enemy. So we should take very radical, drastic actions to deal with that. Now, Cameron in London has become very militant after the Malaysian airline disaster. And so maybe we can work with him on these financial sanctions. Obama has done some things. I'll give him credit for that. It's a sort of ramping up strategy. But I'm just saying, in terms of what you talked about, firing these missiles to get Ukraine military planes and maybe firing them from the Russian side of the border. Putin is heavily involved. He's given them more weapons and so forth. So we're going to have to ratchet up the sanctions. And again, I throw in this idea. We may wish to use our Treasury Department to sell rubles and start a run against the ruble, which would completely and utterly deflate the Russian economy. That's a radical action, but it may be called for.
Larry, before I let you go, final question. I know you can't get into the president's heart, you can't get into the president's mind, but looking at his behavior, looking how he has basically flinched every time he's confronted Putin, do you think he's afraid of provoking Putin? Do you think that Putin has gotten into his head, that in a sense he stood up to Obama, and for whatever reason Obama is intimidated and cowed by him?
I think Obama is loath to use force, Jeffrey. That's what I think. I don't know if he's intimidated by Putin or not. I just can't say. I think Obama's history is that he just doesn't want to use force. He doesn't want to be aggressive. And I think that's taking its toll. It's a passive policy. It's an incoherent policy. And sometimes, as in the case of the so-called Russian reset years ago, it's a feckless policy which has led to more mischief and adventurism by our enemy Putin. So I think Obama does not want to use force. And unfortunately, in real world, which is a dangerous world, sometimes you have to use force, and sometimes you have to use really strong economic force as well. So I think Obama has a long ways to go.
We have been talking with Larry Kudlow, nationally syndicated columnist, CNBC analyst, and of course you can hear his radio show every Saturday evening here on the great WRKO. Larry, thank you so much for coming on the Kuhner Report. Have a great weekend, Larry.
You too.
Take care. 8:55 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. We're now joined by our esteemed executive producer, the dear producer, Bill Cooksey. He's on the road. I don't know if he's made it to the... He's there. He's actually at the Market Basket Rally because he was stuck. He was stuck in traffic. He made it there. Power to the people. We are showing solidarity with the working class, with the workers of Market Basket. Cooks, how are you, my friend? What's the atmosphere? What's the turnout like?
Well, Jeff, the exit to get here was backed up at least a mile and a half, and that was at 8 o'clock, so I was stuck in that for about a half hour. And then I just kind of maneuvered around it, threw on my GPS to figure out a back way here. There's about, I would say at least, and I'm lowballing it, 2,000 people in the market. 2,000
people right now. That's in Tewksbury, right?
Yeah, and it's a very concert atmosphere. There's beach balls. People got their dogs, their kids. They're playing some music. They're chanting. It is a raucous crowd.
Brittany says you're a good reporter, Cooks. Hello, Cooks. Cooks. What the hell? Did he just get mugged there? Hold on, Cooks. You okay?
Hey, are you there?
Hold on. Are you partying with them already? Are you jumping around with that beach ball? Are you already partying with them, or?
No, there are a lot of "Don't Tread on Me" flags, so I do enjoy seeing that.
Oh, okay. No, Brittany was just saying you're a very good reporter. She was paying you a compliment, and then you just fell off the air.
Oh, wonderful.
Now, I don't know if she's saying that because she wants you to be like a permanent reporter, and then she takes your position as executive producer. You see what I'm saying? Like kind of maneuver you out. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at here?
Well, we did ask Brittany to come, but she didn't. She said she didn't want to be down here with these peasants.
With the peasants? No, I know. She's a bit more of a high-class gal, and, being with the peasants...
I was never asked.
She was afraid to bring her Gucci bag.
So, now, Cooks, what are people telling you? Do they, are they confident of victory? Do they think...
Bring back ATD, RDT demolist. Yeah, and they're confident that he will ultimately prevail in the sense that either they're going to reinstate him or they're going to allow him to buy back what he ultimately created, which is market basket. That's what they feel.
Are they encouraged by the offer made by RDT to buy the company outright?
Yeah, a lot of them said that they're here because they understand that Artie isn't giving up, and he wants to. As one person told me, when they found out he made the offer, it felt like not only do we have his back, but he has ours as well.
There are other reports, Cooks, that apparently Arthur S. Demoulas may just want to sell the company off piece by piece or sell it to another corporation or company.
I asked a couple of people about that, Jeff, and they said if that happens, they'll leave it.
They're just going to walk?
They're not working for anyone other than RDT Demoulas.
Really?
Yeah. That's how passionate they are.
You mean they're going to quit?
One person, they'll outright quit. And there are some customers here, too, which I found amazing. It's not just workers. There are customers here who are saying they're not shopping at Market Basket until RDT Demoulas is put back in place. And if he's not put back in place and they do sell it, they'll take their business elsewhere. And I did speak to a fan of the Kuhner country, and he wanted me to pass on a message that this is what the free market looks like.
Can you expound on that a little bit, Cooks?
Well, you can't. What I'm assuming he meant is you can't own a business and just run roughshod on the customers and expect them to keep showing up. Ultimately, the person who has the most power is the person with the dollar. And if they're not going to shop there, then you're going to have to bow to their whims and cave a little bit. It's not just, this is more than a store to them. This is a family atmosphere to them. Now, kind of amazing, because I grew up, in Chelsea going to Market Basket all the time. It's actually the Bull List is what it was called back when I was a kid. They had the big sign out there that said the Bull List. And I never realized that this means so much to people.
Well, I mean, Cooks, I've heard story after story how well the workers are treated, the managers are treated.
Yeah.
They get bonuses, they have revenue sharing agreements. I mean, they're treated well, and Artie respects them. I've heard stories that everyone's seen Artie. Artie shows up, he shakes people's hands, he looks after his workers, they work very hard, and it's been a winning model for them. And they rightfully fear if Artie loses control permanently, they're going to be out on the street.
Yeah, that's a big fear. Either out on the street involuntarily or out on the street voluntarily, because they're not afraid to go. And it really says something when you have people who are willing to walk out and put their family's financial future, their mortgages on the line for a greater belief. You know, that's what I'm hoping we get tomorrow. I mean, there's some people I was listening today that will come, some that can't make it, and there's probably some that are on the fence. And I was thinking about these people here today, and even the customers who don't have to be here, because their dollars not being spent inside a market basket is sending a message enough, but they're here. And when it comes to our rally tomorrow, you know, you can call talk radio, you can post on Facebook, but if you don't show up, it means nothing. You know, if you have a barbecue to go to, and that's more important than what we're doing tomorrow with the immigration rallies, the Stop the Invasion rallies, then really, what good are you to just complain by calling talk radio? We're asking you to come out and be heard. And the people in power at the State House, they'll see the numbers. They'll see what's going on, just like what happened with Justina Pelletier. They'll see the masses. And they'll ultimately will compromise or bend to what we want them to do. And I think everyone out there who's on the fence about going to tomorrow's rally should take some inspiration from the people who are standing here today and talking about.
Cooks, I couldn't have said it better myself. Cooks, we got to go to a news break, but I just got to tell you this. We're looking at TV screens.
I haven't seen Charlie Baker here, by the way.
Hold on, say it again?
I have not seen Charlie Baker here.
Oh, so he's not even at the Market Basket rally.
No, I haven't seen him here either.
Yeah, you think we'll see Charlie tomorrow? Cooks, I'm looking at TV screens right now. They got shots of the rally. Cooks, I think it's a lot bigger than 2000. It's huge.
I'm on the ground. I'm trying to find a vantage point where I can stand and see, because it's just tons of people. But it hasn't even really started yet.
Yeah, Cooks, if you can't, stand on your car, because I'm telling you what we're seeing on the TV screen.
I had to park 3 blocks away and walk here. This is like in a little mini mall. There's a Market Basket, a Marshalls, etc. That's packed. The McDonald's across the street, that's packed. The Hannaford's across the street, that's packed. The bank next door, that's packed. There's security everywhere trying to tell people you can't park in our parking lots. Everything here has come to a standstill because people are just parking and walking.
Good. That's great to see. Honestly, it's Cooks. There's Brittany. What do you think? That's a massive crowd. What do you think the number is?
Yeah, I think it's huge. It's got to be more than 2,000.
It's more than 2,000. I mean, it's hard to tell when you're watching on television, but my guess would be at least 4,000 to 5,000.
Agreed.
Yeah, Brittany agrees.
I wouldn't be surprised if I can get up on a vantage point and look. I'll probably have to get a bigger number, but it looks pretty big. Now, I'm going to try to get some people on the phone. I'm going to give you a call back at 9:15.
All right, give us a call back. Get some people on the phone. We can get some people and tell us why they're there and why they're rallying. To everybody out there, if you want to show up and show solidarity with Market Basket, it's on 10 Main Street in Tewksbury. My friends, show up, support the employees and workers of Market Basket. My friends, it's time we took our neighborhoods back, our communities back, and tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the steps of the State House, let's take our state and our country back. Stop the invasion of illegal immigrants. Send them all home.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.
.909 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. On standby right now is State Representative Jim Lyons, and I'm going to get to him very, very quickly. But I just got to say this. You know, I've got Representative Lyons. We're going to talk about the stunning verdict yesterday in the probation scandal, whereby all of the hacks, the key hacks in the scandal, led by John O'Brien and his two underlings, were found guilty of racketeering and corruption. I've got Cooksey coming on a bit later to talk about the market basket story. We have our own rally tomorrow. I got to tell you the truth. I got buddies of mine in the talk radio business, and they're like, Jeff, I don't know how to do 2 hours in a show. Never mind 3. And I keep telling them, are you kidding me? I've got a 4-hour show, and I don't know how to cram everything in. There's so much news. Honestly, you know, I could legitimately do easy 5-6 hours a day. There's so much news and important developments. But anyway, let that go. So, as I was saying, yesterday in a stunning decision, absolutely stunning decision, the jury delivered guilty verdicts for 3 people at the center of the probation department, the parole department scandal. It was John J. O'Brien was found guilty. He's the former probation commissioner of 6 charges. Essentially, he was found guilty of a racketeering conspiracy along with Billy Burke and Elizabeth Taveras, his 2 underlings. And at the heart of this conspiracy was essentially pay to play. The conspiracy went like this. And Bob DeLeo was named by Carmen Ortiz, the prosecutor in the case, as really the mastermind of this conspiracy. That's why this is very bad news for the House Speaker and for Democrats up on Beacon Hill. The probation department was where the lawmakers went to get cronies, friends, family members, a job, even regardless of whether they were qualified. Most were not qualified, paid for by you and I. $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year in exchange for votes, and in particular for votes and favors to Bob DeLeo to make him House Speaker. It was a criminal enterprise. No different than the mob, no different than the mafia, whereby our money was used to give unqualified people a job in exchange for influence and voting for Bob DeLeo. The State House and Beacon Hill, and I'm choosing my words very carefully, is essentially a crime syndicate. We are now run by a mafia state. And these are racketeering charges. Many of them face up to 20 years in prison. All of them, in fact, face potentially 20 years in prison. And the key question is, will John O'Brien, the former probation commissioner, the man with clear ties to Bob DeLeo, House Speaker, will he flip and will he sing like a canary? Because if he flips and if he starts ratting out his friends, then you're going to see high-ranking Democrats falling like dominoes. And to discuss this and the consequences of the verdicts, I'm joined by State Representative Jim Lyons. He is a reformer. He has been trying to clean up the corruption on Beacon Hill for years. Representative Lyons, thank you so much for coming on the Kuhner Report.
Jeff, once again, thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate the opportunity to discuss this.
Representative Lyons, you and I, we exchange emails, we speak on the phone once in a while. You always tell me about how bad the corruption, the abuse of power is up on Beacon Hill. That it's practically criminal, as you tell me. Were you stunned by the verdicts? And do you think this could have a potential damaging consequence for House Speaker DeLeo and other senior Democrats?
I was not stunned by the verdict. I had been following this trial for the better part of almost on a daily basis, reading about it. I had thoroughly reviewed the Ware report and also the 2 indictments. And I think what this verdict confirms is I think what all of us know is that corruption is still out of control on Beacon Hill. And I think all you have to really do is take a look at the 2 statements that came out of the Senate President's office and out of the Speaker's office to recognize how out of touch the people are who are in power on Beacon Hill. The Senate President, and I quote, as previously stated, I was unaware of any possible scheme of improper hiring practices at probation. Now, when the story broke yesterday about the convictions, the first sentence in the State House News report states, job seekers shuttled through Senate President Theresa Murray's office were hired by state probation departments in a criminal, fraudulent manner. So right after that verdict comes down, the Senate President says she was unaware of any possible scheme. The House Speaker came out with a statement that the verdict confirmed that he did not engage in any inappropriate action. The State House News report goes on and says the filled jobs in the House with illegal gratuities. The jury determined Thursday convicting 3 probation officers of a bevy of charges. The scheme was concocted by the Commissioner of Probation, Representative House Speaker DeLeo's aide, a gentleman by the name of Leonard Marzullo, and that was the testimony. The testimony in this trial brought all of the players together, and the facts were that based on that testimony and a rigged hiring system, John O'Brien and his aides were convicted. The fact that the leaders on Beacon Hill want to now say that that conviction exonerates them is foolhardy. And quite frankly, I think it's incumbent upon me as a representative to reach out to the House Counsel, James Kennedy, and request that James Kennedy, he is vested with the responsibility to protect the integrity of the House, and we're going to request that he lay out the procedures that a representative can follow to call for an ethics committee investigation and an ethics commission investigation into these allegations. I don't think I can sit by and, having watched this trial unfold, and after 7 days of this jury deliberating, and sit by and say, okay, this is all over. I think we owe it to the taxpayers, and we owe it to the people who work in our different agencies to know that we run a clean ship up there. And right now, the integrity of the House of Representatives has been dramatically tarnished.
Wow. Representative Lyons, I just want to clarify this, because this is you're making news right now. Are you saying that you're going to be the first lawmaker, a Republican lawmaker, but the first lawmaker to go up and file a complaint against DeLeo with the House Ethics Committee to launch a formal investigation into DeLeo?
Absolutely. I think for 2 reasons. Number one, I mean, the allegations are so shocking, that basically people were given jobs in return for what they call gratuities. So if that was taking place, we should know about it. And also, one of the things that the Speaker has said is that he wants an opportunity to defend himself. And this will give him that opportunity to defend himself. So I absolutely think that we need a thorough investigation of these charges and how the conviction, which ties it right back to the legislature, it's basically saying that the legislature was an employment agency for the probation department. I mean, that's not how government ought to run. And if that isn't how it was operating, then we should get the facts out there and try to restore the integrity of the legislature. So yes, I'm absolutely going to call on 2 fronts, on the Ethics Committee and the Ethics Commission.
Representative Lyons, I then got to ask you this question. We've had now former House speakers who've been indicted, many of them, or some of them, convicted. Sal DeMacy, Tom Finneran, Charles Flaherty. I mean, almost everyone who's a House Speaker in the last couple of decades is a crook or indicted as a crook. Is House Speaker Bob DeLeo, has this scandal so tainted his authority and credibility? Do you think, A, he can recover, and do you think ultimately he needs or should step down and resign?
Well, that's why I'm calling for the investigation, because, we've heard the Speaker of the House in the last week vehemently deny any involvement or any wrongdoing in this in this scheme. And I think it's incumbent upon us as legislators to get to the bottom of it. The jury convicted after 7 days of deliberating after a 10-week trial one side of the equation. Now, the suggestion is that there has to be another side, and we've heard the Speaker say that he had no involvement. Well, this will give everyone an opportunity to get his side of the story. So I'm going to wait and see. But as of right now, I believe that we need to thoroughly investigate it and get to the bottom of it. And I think that House Counsel James Kennedy, who is vested with the responsibility of protecting the integrity of the House, will help us through this process. And I'm going to request it from him in writing today.
Representative Lyons, Carmen Ortiz, the prosecutor, throughout the trial, said that the mastermind of this probation scandal was House Speaker Bob DeLeo. That the reason why all of these lawmakers were being funneled through the probation department to get all of their hacks, all of their friends, wives, girlfriends, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, jobs at the probation department was because ultimately DeLeo took care of them and then they took care of him by electing him Speaker. And she said he was at the center of this conspiracy. He was the mastermind of this conspiracy. The word out on Beacon Hill, that what I've been here, or Bacon Hill as I like to call it, is that in fact Carmen Ortiz, before she indicted O'Brien, Burke, and Taveras, wanted to indict DeLeo, wanted to indict about 10 senior Democrats, but she got a call from Eric Holder. And apparently the Attorney General told her, this is what I'm hearing on the Hill, that don't touch DeLeo, don't touch the senior Democrats, go after the small fish, because this is going to humiliate the party, humiliate the Democrats in front of just before, near a very closely contested, hardly fought election. Is that the word out on the street up on Beacon Hill?
I mean, certainly people have, said what you just said, but I think what we ought to really take a look at, Jeff, is the reaction from the folks who are running for governor on the Democratic side. And one of the interesting reactions is from the candidate, Mr. Berwick. And he's quoted yesterday as saying, legislative leaders who were complicit by their actions or by their silence have allowed taxpayer dollars to be wasted, and worse, have once again damaged faith in government. Now, the interesting thing about what Berwick says is that he goes after legislative leaders. When you look at Attorney General Coakley, her comments, today's verdict sends a clear message that the corrupt hiring practice at issue were wrong and illegal. The rigged hiring system at the probation department never should have been accepted as business as usual. And then Grossman goes on and says John O'Brien and his colleagues engaged in reprehensible behavior. It's interesting that the outsider is the only one who is calling for legislative leaders to be held accountable. And that's, as a state representative, I believe that that's my job. Let's get to the facts. If O'Brien, there's no if about it anymore, O'Brien was convicted of just what the allegations were, and the Speaker has said that this conviction exonerates him. Let's get an opportunity to find out his side. That's why I'm calling for the investigation.
Representative Lyons, you work hard. You do the rounds up on Beacon Hill. You're very active. People know who you are. You're engaged on many issues. Let me ask you something almost man to man, mano a mano. How corrupt is it up there on Beacon Hill? How much abuse of power is really going on? Is it, Howie in his column today basically compares it to the mafia. Is it that bad?
Well, I think the facts in this case certainly point to it being that bad. I believe that the process on Beacon Hill is very, very closed up. and there's very little transparency, and the amount of open and honest debate that takes place up there is very limited. I think one of the things as a legislature that I'm trying to do and others are trying to do is open up the process. So the question is I'm not going to paint a broad brush on the legislature, all the legislators on Beacon Hill at all. I think there are a lot of good, hardworking people, honest people on Beacon Hill. But the system has become so closed and the power structure has been so limited that to break through that structure is virtually impossible. So until we open that process up, the types of things that we're seeing happen here are going to continue to happen. And so I think it's the system and the long-termness of this is how things are done on Beacon Hill. And until we change that, the taxpayers, I think, are the ones that are always going to get the bad end of the stick. And that's what's happening here.
Jim, I've been saying this now for a while. If we had a competitive two-party system, if we had a real opposition up on Beacon Hill, then you would have more accountability. You would have more transparency. You would have a more crackdown and more opposition to this kind of corruption and abuse of power. You would clean up some of these scandals. Agree or disagree?
Completely agree. Completely agree. I mean, I think that what we need is one of the philosophies that has existed in the 3.5 years that I have been there is a leadership style that believes that because we're so limited in numbers, when I say we, the Republicans are so limited in numbers, that what we ought to do is basically go along to get certain things, whether it be pork in our districts or different things in the legislature. And I think that type of leadership and that type of the way they operate does nothing to take away the power structure that's been put in place for so long. I think what we need to do is have vigorous and open debate. We need to have our ideas listened to and debated. And until we do that, the processes and the power structure is so much stacked against the taxpayers and individuals on Beacon Hill.
We have been talking with State Representative Jim Lyons, one of the good guys up on Beacon Hill. Representative Lyons, keep up the good fight, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Take care. 617-266-6868 is the number. Pardon me, Brittany? All right, Cooksy's back on now. He is at the rally, the Market Basket Rally in Tewksbury. He's on the spot reporting today. We heard from him earlier. Cooks, what are you hearing now? Are the people still coming? Is the crowd getting bigger?
Jeff, it's getting huge. I want to say at least 5,000, probably close to 7. It's massive. And the best sign of the day so far is a sign that said, this is not organized labor. This is organized love and respect. Save ATD. I was like, wow, that is clever. I thought my sign for tomorrow, I wish Charlie Baker was a Republican because of that. You're on to something there, lady. I talked to a lot of people, and I wanted to get a couple of them on the air, but they all kind of said the same thing, Jeff, which I really respect. They don't want to speak individually. They want their collective voices heard. I was like, these people got it together down here. This is what America looks like.
Cooks, that's a well-oiled machine, what you're seeing down there.
Oh yeah, and
so individually, they don't want to come on the Kuhner report. They just want to have their collective voice be heard.
They want their collective voices to be heard. No one wants to outshine someone else. They feel that their movement and their cause is stronger together than it is apart. And I said, yeah, sounds like Abraham Lincoln. Can you go to Washington, D.C.? You should talk to the president.
So hold on. So that means nobody wants to come on the air and talk to the Kuhner man.
They want the story to be told through the pictures and the audience crowd. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you guys can hear what's going on. I'm trying to back up as far away as possible. It's so loud. But they're really, they're not going to back down. No, I have not met one person yet, and I've talked to a lot of them that are going back to work until unless our 13th and will listen to me and say it.
And they're still.
I asked them. I asked one lady, she's fairly young, she's probably in the 30s. Well, what about your bills? What about? And she said, we'll figure it out. My husband and I will figure it out. But this means more to us. We'll figure out the rest.
So, Cooks, what you're hearing is this. The sheer size of the rally, the number of people there willing to show up, willing to take a stand, that their very presence is making a statement.
Yes. Now, I don't know if it's being heard on the side they're opposing. I don't know if it's that the people who fired ATD are just playing deaf and not even bothering figuring they'll wait this thing out. But I don't think there's any waiting. I think this will go on, and I think you'll see this disruption, discontent for as long as authority is not reinstated.
Well, the board is meeting today, and Cooks, I got to tell you, again, I'm looking at these TV pictures, and that thing is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Much bigger. Oh, yes, it's incredible. And like I told you before, in case the people are just tuning in, it's not just workers. It's customers. There's so many customers here. One sign, our customer for 30 years, no more. If I'm the board and looking, and I'm wondering if they were smart enough to send out a spy of some sort to go out and look at these signs, talk to these people, and get this sign to kind of feel for the crowd. But how do you not just give up and walk away and say, you know what, they won, just give it back? Now they're chanting RDT's name.
RDT's name? Cooks, trust me on this, because you're in the crowd, you're in the middle of it. They don't need to send a spy. All they got to do is look at the bloody screen.
Yeah,
I mean, there's an army of them out there.
RDT is my CEO. That's a lot of the signs say. Do you remember that infamous picture of Obama that the pager did, where it's all different colors and it said hope?
Yes.
But they have those now. With RDT's face on it.
With RDT on it.
It says believe or HED or something, or market basket.
Well, to everybody out there, we've already...
The other one, Jeff, is market basket strong.
Seriously, Market Basket Strong?
Market Basket Strong, which I like. That's
good. That's good. We got Facebook pictures up. Sorry. Cooksy's been taking pictures. We've already put it up. It's on Facebook. It's on WRKO.com. So you can go to RKO.com. You can see the pictures for yourself. Cooks. They're not on RKO.com. So where are they, Brittany?
They're on the Facebook.
Oh, they're on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So go to what's the Facebook page? Is it? No, it's Kuhner Country, right?
No, it's WRKO.
Oh, WRKO. Okay, go to the WRKO Facebook page, and you can see the pictures. Cooks, now, if we get a size of people like that for tomorrow's rally, I mean, that's going to send shockwaves to the political establishment.
Oh, I believe so. You and I were talking the other day about the poll that came out that was on the front page of the Globe. It's 50-50. I think when you see it in black and white on a newspaper, it doesn't look as shocking to people. But when you show up in numbers like this, with a demonstration like this, that transcends a headline in a newspaper or a poll on a piece of paper that some polling company puts together for you. Because this is flesh and blood, live, democracy taking place, and they have no choice but to listen. Or be afraid. And, as you and I were talking about this 2 nights ago, even if Deval Patrick is so stubborn and doesn't want to bend and doesn't want to give in, your state reps will. And that's the point of the bicameral legislation. They're directly responsible for you. And, you can send messages to your state representatives and your state senators that if they're not going to listen to the size of the crowd that we may get tomorrow, they'll be out of jobs. That's why it's important to show up tomorrow, just like it was important to show up to the Justina Pelletier rally, just like it's important for these guys and these girls here to show up for Arthur T. DeMoulis and Market Basket. If you don't show up, no one hears you, no one cares. So, rain or shine, show up.
Tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., stop the invasion of illegal immigrants. Tell Deval Patrick we do not want to have Massachusetts house and shelter all of these illegal immigrants coming from Central America. It will be at the steps of the State House across from the Boston Commons, 11 a.m. I'll be there. Cooksey will be there. A lot of other political people will be there. Please, Kuhner Country, show up and let's send a message loud and clear. No mas. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Rachel, you're up first. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
I'm sorry I won't be able to go to the rally tomorrow, but I have one more thing I would like to add. You and your colleagues are America's last hope. You're the only people who are telling us really what's going on. There is one more thing you should add, and I think if it takes off, and you people can make it take off, is have a little addition to your no mas and write no incumbents. People should go to the voting booth and not vote for the incumbents.
I agree with you. I think it's time to clean them. Just clean house. Kick all the bums out. If you won't defend our borders, if you won't protect our citizens, if you won't protect our republic, what good are you to me? Here, now. Shock poll just came out. I don't know why people are surprised. Shock poll on the right column of the Drudge Report. 1/3 of Americans favor impeaching Obama. And it's going to grow. It's 1/3 now. After November 2014, it's going to be 40-45%. And once people really find out what's happening, it's going to be 55-60%. We can win. I'm not selling you false hope. That's why I'm there tomorrow. That's why I will be there tomorrow. We can win because we have the most powerful force on earth behind us, the truth. We have justice. We have freedom. We have moral decency on our side. But it's exactly what Cooksey said. If the workers weren't rallying today, if the customers weren't showing up at the rally today, you can't save Market Basket. If we don't rally, if we don't show up, we won't win. But they'll see how many there are of us, and they'll see how tired we are, and they'll see how upset we are, and they'll see how we're fed up. And they're going to realize, oh my God, we're all going to be fired. We're going to lose our jobs. We're going to lose our power. We're going to lose our privileges. The peasants have had it. They've taken to the pitchforks. There is an army of us out there. And we've been beating them on issue after issue. We're beating them on the gas tax. We beat them on Justina Pelletier. And I'm telling you, on this issue, the regime has overreached. There's no getting around it. Your very presence will send a message that will shock the foundations of this corrupt establishment in Massachusetts. Tomorrow, the Middle American Revolution begins. We're taking our country back, and we're taking no prisoners. 617-266-6868 is the number. America, love it or leave it. Al, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Amen, amen, amen to you. I just wanted to say that this illegal alien situation is making my head explode. You know, my parents immigrated legally from China, learned to speak English, and assimilated to America's ways and taught me to respect the greatest country in the world. I will be at the rally with you tomorrow, along with the Inner Circle. And on behalf of the Inner Circle, I wanted to send a message to Mini-Me, you Urkel-sounding piece of garbage, to Boehner Brad Jones, who I'm ashamed to say is from my town of North Reading, but let that go. You Peter Griffin-looking buffoon who wouldn't know the right thing if it slapped him upside the noggin. To Charlie Baker, who you would have better luck trying to nail Jell-O to a wall instead of trying to nail him down on taking a Republican stand on a major issue. And to all the Rhino supporters who keep saying we have to vote for the R no matter what just to remove the D from power, that message simply is blank you. Mark Fisher for governor. God bless you, Jeff. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Al. 617-266-6868. Frank, you're up next. Go ahead, Frank.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Frank.
You got me in my head in the dazzle this morning with all this business of Iraq and everything, but something I just would like to get across if you allow me to. When George Washington first took his oath as president of this country in Federal Hall near Ground Zero, the first thing they did was not to create a law or pass a bill. It was to consecrate the country to God. And the word he used was the propitious smiles. I had to look up that word, meaning the favorable smiles of heaven, can never be expected on a nation that disregards the eternal rules of order and right which heaven itself hath ordained.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Frank, I was just going to say, look, Frank, I talked about this earlier. No God, no America.
Yes, but he was also at that time displaying the separation of church and state. And in the first part, he's saying he's thanking God for allowing them to create the greatest republic. And in the second part, he's saying those who disregard the eternal rules, meaning it's up to us at that point to do the right thing.
Bingo.
And that's what you're doing on the radio every day.
Oh, thank you, Frank.
Tomorrow, we're going to show it.
Frank, are you going to be there tomorrow?
I was with you on the Adams tour, hobbling around, if you recall.
Yes.
Yes, and I will be there with as many friends as I can get there. You might not see me, but I'll see you.
Oh, God bless you, Frank.
I pray for a safe and successful rally. Let's go get them.
God bless you, my friend. From your lips to God's ears. 617-266-6868 is the number. Linda, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
I wanted to talk just for a second about who I think what Obama's plan is, that he's going to use these people. Remember the civilian army that's as good as our army?
Yes.
That's who I think. This is going to be the SA, and the middle will be the Islamists. But I want to just say one more thing.
Sure.
I was your first caller when you were substituting for Jennifer Breen. And I have to say from the bottom of my heart, Jeff, and I'm coming tomorrow, that you've never disappointed me. I've grown in respect for you every day. And I just want to say, Jeff, you are a blessing. You are an angel from God.
Wow. Linda, thank you very, very much. Thank you. Look, I want to be on. Thank you. I have tears in my eyes. Let me just, I'm up against it, but let me just say this. I get up every morning, God is my witness, with so much pride that I get to serve all of you. This is the best audience in talk radio, bar none. And I can't tell you what an honor it is to speak to you Monday to Friday, every day, 6 till 10. And the commitment I have to you is I will never abandon you. I will always fight for you. I will always stay by your side. My friends, we are the future. All we have to do is seize it. 9:52 on the great WRKO. See you tomorrow, 11 a.m., steps of the State House, across the Boston Commons. Stop the invasion rally. 617-266-6868. We are going to be posting up on the WRKO Facebook page and on our website all of the details for tomorrow's rally, so you can send them out to friends, relatives, family members. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., 1 p.m., America rises at the steps of the State House. Stop the invasion rally right across from the Boston Commons. My friends, please show up if you can. Mary, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go.
Hello.
Hi, Mary.
Hello, Mr. Kuhner. I listen to you every morning, and thank God you're there for us.
Oh, thank you.
I had planned on going tomorrow, but I've come down with a very bad throat. But I want to tell you what was going to be on my sign.
Okay.
The Democrat Party, stop the war on America.
I love it. I love it. If somebody there could do that sign in place of Mary, Democrat Party, stop the war on America. People are saying, Jeff, do you have any suggestions? You know, a nice sign, just say, put America first. Another one that I like a lot. We are a nation of legal immigrants, not criminals. That sums it up. Yes, we're a nation of immigrants, but not criminals. That, to me, sums the whole thing up. Deport Mini-Me. 617-266-6868. Comrade John, how you are, comrade?
See, happy, muy bien. Two things. First of all, I would like everyone to stay at tomorrow's rally and that everybody returns home safe and that it's a peaceful demonstration. Second of all, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jeff, for everything you do. You're a true man and a true American. God bless you.
Amen. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you, comrade. My friends, see you all tomorrow. May God bless you, and may God bless the greatest country in the world, the United States of America.
Talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.